Okay, so there's a guy called Derek Balgale, and he's running seminars and explaining what's going on in court. And there's another guy called Dennis. Apparently, it's a mate of his. Now, this guy called Dennis knew this bloke, and he had a melanoma. And Dennis said, "Here, try Black Salve," and it got rid of the melanoma. And what happened was the guy, he started going, put him up on a pedestal, and then he said, why pay your mortgage? Why don't you just do a promissory note and discharge your debt? There is no debt. And so he did that, and then the banks came in. They took the house. Then they did a lawful repossession with a trespassing notice. And they didn't explain debt validation. They didn't show statement of claim, notice discovery, any of that kind of stuff. And where you ask questions, and if you don't rebut the statements, then on proof of claim, all that kind of stuff, accepted for value, proof of claim, they default basically. And what happened was they lost the house. They're now homeless. The wife's left the husband, and the two principals who got the guy into this mess is Derek and Dennis. Now, I've never told anyone what to do. I'm just talking about what you can do, and I've only started doing that recently. I've just been explaining the fraud. And so what happened was the use of the promissory note it didn't work. Now, what Dennis has turned around and said to this guy down in Victoria, I'm leaving his name out of it. Now, I've seen the video of them getting evicted. I've seen the sign he's put up. I've got no reason to disbelieve what he's saying. And when I was on a Zoom meeting, I mentioned all the fraud to Derek, and it was like, yeah, no, we're not talking about it. We're talking about this. Well, the fraud destroys any claim. So they didn't want to hear it. And just like the Stephen Limby's Commonwealth clip, didn't want to hear it, shut me down, muted me, then slandered me, and then I couldn't rebut anything. So I just posted fucking Deborah Bentley's emails on fucking on the Telegram. So they shut down my Telegram for everyone to see on Rona's fucking page. Now, what happened was you've got Derek. Dennis said, don't follow any of Freeman stuff. You'll end up in jail. Now, no one's gone to jail for anything I've been saying because I haven't told anyone what to do. I've just been explaining the fraud, like the Justinian deception. You start giving advice to people, and they start, say you give that much advice, and they only take that much of it, what you say, then they're going to crash and burn. Right? And you got to know, I still don't know all this stuff, right? I'm still working it out. So this guy's telling someone I know not to follow my advice, but here he is, he just lost their house. And then this guy's calling Dennis for 2 years straight, trying to talk to him. Oh, we're in court. And then so I looked up Derek Balgale on Facebook, and he sent me his Zoom meeting link, and I went on that, and that was just bullshit. They're just suckering people in, going, oh, I'm always getting calls, I'm always busy, we're always in court. Okay, so list the court case, the case number, list the parties, and list the outcome. Was it adjourned, sine die? Was it found in your favour? Because there's only been one recorded case in history where the court has found in favour of the borrower, which is actually the creator and principal of the security, and gives life to the security, because the paperwork's worth nothing until you sign it. Once you sign the paperwork, the mortgage, it then becomes a security, and it's tradable. Banks don't lend money. They don't fucking lend you my money. They don't lend you their money. They don't lend you my money, and they can't print money. Banks trade in securities. And so what happens is when you create the security, if you draw the cross, the Christian cross, the left side is also left side's a debtor, right side's a creditor, but that's in terms of a notice. in terms of a deposit on a ledger, there is these on and off book accounting. So in terms of a deposit on a ledger, what you do to the left side, you got to do to the right. So when you create the security, that creates the value, right? The document's worth nothing until you sign it. It's not tradable until you sign it. So that creates the value. And then what happens is they're supposed to make a representation on the other side as a credit, but they misrepresent the creation of the security because banks only trade in securities, and they fraudulently write a debt, and then they've created the security which is tradable. Then what happens is they trade that, and it's said can be said up to 1.5%. So 1.5% of $1 million loan is 15,000. So the broker on each end, the buyer and the seller, can make 30 grand in a day plus the security. They make that straight away, and that gets traded over a year. And if the economy gets up by 6%, well, the value gets up by 6%. So that's another 60,000. That's if they hold it, but they keep trading it. Right? It goes in hedge funds and they buy it and all kinds of shit. And so some of these things they reckon are traded hundreds of times in its lifetime. And so anyway, so then they get you to pay back the principal. So they've made the security, which is $1 million. Then they get you to pay back the principal, which is another $1 million. Then they get you to pay back over the lifetime, usually double that in interest. That's four units of $1 million. So then the bank then takes that money and buys real estate and buys commodities, and the bank goes into engages in commerce and economics and competes with you in the market. So now you've got four values, or you can call them four separate entities, four units of measure, competing with you in the market, pushing the prices up, forcing you to borrow more, create more, giving them more, but you're the debtor. So it's a mark against your name, which is the national debt. And then they come in and steal the fucking minerals and call them resources because they're revenue is when you do it somewhere else. They're resourcing, they're incoming, they're transferring the wealth to themselves, and you'll keep racking up the debt. Now Derek says, "Oh, they put it in a briefcase." No, they don't. They put it in a folder, and that goes into one of those boxes, goes into a filing cabinet. That cabinet will be called a trust, right? And then they sell the trust. They can't sell the mortgage; they sell the trust, and it's called a special purpose vehicle. They're asset-backed securities. And so here's Derek fucking getting people, and Dennis getting people to do a promissory note. It was about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago. But if you go to this clip here, and it's you think you have a mortgage by Derek Balgo, and he what he says is he basically says Derek says the courts are owned by the banks. No, the court is the bank. The first Supreme Court in New South Wales, the old building is called the Banca Supreme Court. It's a bank. Banco is Italian for bank, right? Banca means bench, and bench and bank up means bank. And BENCH, CH is K, bank. AEIOU interchangeable, BENCH is bank. Banca, you can't make this stuff up. So he says they're owned by the banks. They're not. They are the bank, right? The king is the money lender. Yeah, they put the state prints birth certificates on bonded paper, or they used to. Bonded paper is what money is printed on and what securities is printed on. So the state prints birth certificates, so they're a money lender, right? The federal prints the money, they put their faces on it, so it's a money lender. The Queen puts her face on the money, she's a money lender, right? If there's a king and a queen, there's a debt. That's the only way there's a king and a queen, if there's a debt, because they're printing money, you're using their money, so you're surety for the fucking debt, right? If you claim the name is idolatry, because gematria, the Lesser Keys of Solomon, it's all electrical symbols. They're the 71 demons that you can summon in the Lesser Keys of Solomon. You can get them to work for you, but there's always a penalty. There's always a tax. Solomon went bad. He fell out with God and started worshipping other gods. So the gematria is a representation of a demon, and you can write down the gematria and summon the demon, but then you got to pay the toll. And so the gematria, the writing, right? It's divination. Financial, FIN is the end, and FIN is SIN. It's sins. AN is no, C of the Almighty. Sins, no, C of the Almighty. All right. So and then he says to the MP on the clip, I'm paying your wages. No, she's accessing her trust. She's got partial access to the trust, right, to be the MP. And then he goes and says, he says all kinds of crazy shit like, I'll pull up the clip, right? So then he's basically talking about, I'm telling him the banks don't lend money. The banks can't print money. They don't lend other people's money. They trade in securities. He's got caught surrounded by the bank. All these people calling these cases. Yeah, so where's the evidence of all these cases that he's been operating? Did they win the case? Did they win the case? Did the bank withdraw? Did the court adjourn the case, sine die? The only court case in recorded history is a Credit River case, and that judge died 28 days later in his yacht, and he was poisoned to death. Right? The Credit River case is the most talked about case in legal history. Right? And then I've got and then he talks about misrepresentation, debt security, inflation, da da da. Anyway, I just left a few comments on his channel. So he basically says that they're not caught since 1985. Well, no, there's been no money since 1929 in America. They got rid of the gold and silver, fiat currency. When they got rid of the pound here in Australia, technically that was money redeemable for gold and silver, and the paper had a little strip of silver inside it. So when we went away from the pound, I don't know if that's not 85, but that was when money was removed. This guy is saying that you can't use promissory notes in court or to discharge a debt. But here he is telling this guy in Victoria, use a promissory note, him and Dennis, saying promissory note. And when this guy tries ringing Derek or Dennis, they just ignore him. But here they are doing seminars in pubs and everything. And when I was on the Zoom meeting, I was explaining that every dollar you have in your account is a mark against your name. It's a debt. And you've got to discharge your debt. But it's all fraud. So fraud destroys any claim they've got. Fraud, I've got it here. I'll just pull it up. Where is it? Nope. I'll go back. Where is it? Damn, it's not coming up. It's gone. It's gone. Oh, no, it's not coming up. Hang on, here we go. I swear. That was the other thing. Through the denial of service. Sorry, wasting your time. It's gone. So through the denial of service from the other clip, what happened was I had off the old PC. When I turned it on, I walked out of the room, came back. I had 2 clips that I recorded from the Glosser channel deleted off the desktop. Now the Wi-Fi wasn't working, connecting, but they disappeared off the laptop. And then on this PC, off my YouTube channel, they took down a clip from the one about the AMA being the same logo as the Bank of England. And then that disappeared off my PC as well. So I saved them on the desktop. But I've got a couple of hard drives that every now and then I back them up and then I hide them. I'll hide mine anyway. So and I never plug the hard drive in when I'm connected to the internet. So they were deleting stuff off my desktop, off this PC, and off my other PC, because I'm just talking about what's really going on. Now, Derek didn't want to talk about the fact that fraud. Okay, so fraud. You can sign up to something and just write "fraud destroys trust" as a signature, or "Vico Actus fraud destroys trust." It's an occupation. You've got to eat. So you're not bound by any of their fraud. Time does not invalidate fraud. Fraud destroys trust. Fraud destroys everything ab initio from the beginning, and that's why Molika won against Chapman. Right? You're on an occupation. It's my forced hand. You've got to eat. They're forcing you. They've got people in. I spoke to a friend of mine, and her son didn't. He got targeted. He was urinating behind a public toilet. It was closed, and it was only 9 o'clock. And they didn't catch him doing it, but they chased him for the ticket, and then he didn't pay the ticket. Then they issued a warrant for him. They harassed the shit out of him, and I started explaining this is what's really going on. And they terrorised her. They had cops turning up in fucking hoodies at night, no uniform, no black lights, banging on her door, and she comes out with the phone, and then she goes, "I'm recording it," and they jumped into the car, and the guy's reversing out the driveway, and because they didn't want to get caught on camera. This is Castle Hill Police. And he's reversing out the driveway, and the copper's ass is hanging out the fucking window. and she goes, "They're fucking terrorising me. They're banging on my door at 10 o'clock at night trying to catch her son staying at her house." And all it was for pissing out a fine. Anyway, and then I started telling her about this stuff. And, where was I on that? I've gone off topic. So she didn't realise the level of fucking vitriol and just the nastiness that's involved with these people. They're tricking people into believing that they're the name, and the name is not it's not it's not the identification of someone. It's the identification of an interest in something. Right? It's all based on fraud. It's what they call a constructive trust, like Mr. Gavin. It doesn't exist at or in law. It's fake. They have to make up fiction to get you into fucking court. So now you got these fucking people like Derek, and I explained the fraud, and it's like, I can't handle it. Right? They don't want to talk about it, and they go around slandering you in the fucking background. It always comes back to me, right? Just like when I make everything public, so it's or there's no such thing as public, right? There's no such thing as private. It's fiction. Right? I make it seen and heard. Right, you've got this guy that has destroyed a family, and I said to the son, I said, I didn't realise the mother had moved out, but I said if your mother's stuck by the father and the family, then that's fucking true love. That's what you call a woman, right? And then he revealed to me after that, she'd actually left, and I said, "Oh, yeah, that's natural. Technically, it's not her fault. They can't handle it. Women need a nest. They need stability. They can't handle the stress. Men are bred for it. We go and do all the shitty jobs. We eat the stress, eat the stress, the environment, and the workload, and it's just natural. So yeah, they target the family, and so when he put up a no trespass sign on the property. And he notified the security guards, and I said, get their chassis numbers of their cars, and I said, it'll take you a couple of years to get your head around it, but you can put a lien on their fucking property, right? Register an unrebutted claim, and then fucking put a fee schedule on there, and once they don't rebut it, it becomes truth in law. It's prejudicial and non-judicial, and a judge can't or magistrate can't overturn it. And so basically, he did some of it, and they started listening. And then after that, the cops started pulling him over and fucking him over on the side of the road, and doing full body cavity search, like they pull him over, pull his pants down, all kinds of shit on the side of the road. They had someone bash his mum. They T-boned. They got and it's always these fucking deros. It's always these fucking. They got a Land Cruiser that T-boned his car. And out of nowhere, and the girl fucking fucked off, and nothing was done. And the police are treating him like he's some kind of scumbag. Now, what happens is, they did the same shit to my sister. They T-boned her car, did all kinds of shit, and it's basically to torture the family, right? The police are in on it. The police run it. They've got these minions. Like what they would do to me is they would say, "Oh, I bumped into someone or I rammed someone or all this kind of shit. I'm driving a Mercedes van. I'm driving a Volkswagen Transporter. I'm driving a Mercedes Vito. There's no bull bars on them. There's one on my Vito. I took it off because they do just as much damage as they just fold back on the car and do even more damage unless you got a fucking an old FJ40 where it's the solid chassis and the thing doesn't buckle. But then it just warps the chassis anyway. So they do nothing. Now, a headlight on a Mercedes Benz is about $1,200 fucking dollars. The grill is about fucking $300. Even aftermarket, you're looking at a couple $100, $400 second hand. So why would I be in a van with explosive gas? Now, the oxygen cylinder is, about 80 kilos. About half that is gas. That's 40 kilos of oxygen, which is more explosive than C4. LPG is equivalent to fucking 1 litre is equivalent to 600 grams of C4. How do I know? Because they used to teach us how to make fucking improvised explosives in the army, right? And then we use fucking detonators and claymores to set them off. And so the why would I be ramming someone with explosive gas with my son in the car, right? Why is fucking they create these trim tabs, right? Why would I be picking a fight with a guy in the WX? Why is he going left turn lane, cutting in front and hitting the brakes in the middle of an intersection, right? And I put that video up, and I got the kids there, and the kid said, "No, I didn't run away. I pulled in off the road, on the side road." And this guy's fucking parking me in, and like I'm trying to do a runner in a 3.5 ton van. The fucking stupidity. And then the brother's taking the phone call. The sister's taking the phone call, triple O call that I made. She didn't. I read his rego out, fucking described him. She didn't say, "Oh, that's my brother." And she approaches me in Bankstown Court and says, "Oh, fucking, that was my brother," and just laughs like it's not going to come back and bite her. Like Jennifer Casey ringing me up from Bankstown Police Station and saying, "Oh, you need to come in." You don't need to come in. They fucking lie. They fucking lie. You need to come in. You need to talk to us. And then she started doing interviews. She started saying, "Oh, did you do this? Did you do that?" I said, "Look, I'm just going to take my phone out because they're recording, right?" And she's got a gun. I'm going to take my phone out and start recording it with my little Apple iPhone. And she puts her fucking hand on a gun and goes to take her gun out. I said, "Take your hand off your gun, you fucking malignant bitch." Right? And then she just comes at me to stop me from recording. And this other copper comes in and we're going to arrest you. And all I'm doing is documenting the question she's asking me and fucking allegations of fucking. And what she said, what my ex said to me was, "Oh, he's ruining my life. You've got to do something." So they say, "Well, you've got to give us something." So that they've got nothing. So they've got to fucking make shit up. Now, the whole system, the banking system, the destroying the family, running people off the road, bashing people. There's a guy called Greg Hallett, and he's got an iBooks, Apple iBooks. I don't know what they call it. It's Apple's books, and it's called "Are You My Father?" And he described this fucking 10 years ago in New Zealand, where they made it domestic violence if you're late dropping the kid back. The women aren't even there when you go to pick the kid up, but it's not domestic violence. But if you drop the kid back late, so that's discrimination straight away. And then domestic violence is there's no such thing as domestic violence. There's only violence, right? So domestic violence is social engineering, it's programming. And then what happens was there would be a car. He'd be driving 80k an hour, and there'd be a car up ahead doing 40 or 50 in an 80k zone. So he'd overtake the car. Then the copper would do him for speeding, pull him over, keep him on the side of the road for 45 minutes. He's late dropping the kid back, his flesh and blood. He's late dropping his flesh and blood back. So then he gets arrested for domestic violence, and I think it's up to 2 years in jail or something for repeat offenders and shit. So the New Zealand government is defathering, I don't like using the word father because it's male-female, but depatriarching, arc as a ship, depatriating the father, and then they're turning people into criminals, which is just charge. So they're harming people with fraud and fiction, breaking up the family. The tribe is probably the best word, because family means comes from familiaris, meaning property, and so they're destroying the family unit. And so you've got to ask yourself, why is we know there's okay. So now Dennis and Derek said, I'm coming back now, so I'm just giving you a bit of a broad picture. So Derek and Dennis said that discharged debt, the promissory note. But now here he is on a clip this was about 3 years ago, and then they did it and they lost their property after about a year. And here is Derek fucking in September 2020. So almost 2 years ago, basically a year and a half ago, just over a year and a half ago, saying that promissory notes don't fucking work. So if a promissory note doesn't work, why did Derek and Dennis tell these people to use a promissory note? Now he's saying they don't fucking work in court because they're not courts. They never work. The court it's a slave trading house. Look, if you do the Latin explains everything. William Whitaker's words. So you have to ask yourself, why are they creating the controversy? You can do accepted for value on proof of claim. Please provide the original note or a notarized copy. And a notarized copy means you've got it, and a notary sees it, makes a copy, and signs off on it and says, "Yep, you've got it." He won't perjure himself because he don't want to go to jail for fucking 7 years, 4 years for first offence. Now, perjury by a fucking notary, there's no excuse, so they'll get the maximum. Anyway, technically they should get the maximum, right? So they won't do it, and the bank can't produce it. And I did this with Mercedes-Benz. Now, Mercedes-Benz, I said, send me the original note. They didn't do it. They sent me a copy, and they sent me all the repayments. And then I wrote back, well, thanks for that. You didn't provide the original note, and you provided me with the payments, which proves that you illegally and fraudulently conned me into paying back a fictitious debt. Now, in the first letter, they said they were going to register a default against the vehicle and against me, and because they had a deed of trust. But I withdrew the deed. I withdrew enduring powers of attorney, which destroyed the deed of trust because they created a trust and given themselves total enduring powers of attorney. And so a mate of mine said, "Have you checked from Queensland? This was like 3 years ago." I said, "No, I haven't." He goes, "Well, you don't fucking know." So I went and did a ref check about 4 months ago. There's nothing, no register of encumbrance against my vehicle through the PPSR through listed on Revs, which Revs is just a reflection of the PPSR. And so it worked. And people go, "Well, that's a vehicle. It's not a mortgage." Well, you need to read the document. The document says chattel mortgage. So the same document for the house is the same document for the car. So it's an asset-backed security. The vehicle, the car with the vehicle identification number on it, which goes into a special purpose vehicle, is an asset-backed security, the paperwork. And the mortgage deed document is an asset-backed security. They're both mortgages. So what works for one mortgage will work for another. Right? And I've sent the paperwork. Now here's the other thing. When I went through some of my fucking, I've done fucking letters for people that they can use through Revenue New South Wales and stuff like that. I've done one by this woman called Aurora Perez. And I was getting zapped hard one day when I was fucking sending her back the files. Now I kept fucking forgetting to save the file 1, amend 2, 3, 4, 5. And so then I had to go back and read all 5, and then I wrote "fuck's sake" on the 5th one. And then I sent it to her, and then she got upset and said, "Oh, don't be abusive," and all this kind of shit. I wasn't. And I wrote back, I wasn't being abusive. That's the name of the file, because I couldn't remember which one it is. So I was just thinking out loud, going, "Fuck's sake, you idiot." Not myself. I didn't call her an idiot. I just called her "fuck's sake." And so I was getting zapped hard, and she was being abusive, and then she just kept attacking me while I was getting zapped, fucking really hard. And so eventually I just said, "Look, I know who you are. I've got all your details, right? You're attacking me, trying to stress me out when you're getting zapped and people stress you out, then you fly off the handle, you're agitated. And so with your family or whatever, and that doesn't work. I just eat it up, right?" And so I said to her, "You're attention seeking, or you're doing this on purpose. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I've sent you the document. Fuck off. And if you don't fuck off, I'll make a video clip about you and I'll expose the shit out of you as being a fucking handler." Because she sent me paperwork. She said, "Oh, I'm thinking about becoming a paralegal. Maybe you should think about doing it." And I just read through the shit that she sent me and said, "Oh, statute makes the law." Contract makes the law. It's your common law right to contract. They're fucking adhesion contracts. They're invisible adhesion contracts. King's enfranchisement contracts, and defilement is, defilement of the contract, taking a benefit without discharging the debt is their top priority. There's a guy called Mercer who did an awesome document. I've got it if anyone wants a copy of it. And so what happens is she fucks off. Now I saved all this shit. I go to jail. I come out of the fucking thingo. I lost my PC and stuff in the Windsor floods. The flood of my F-150 and my Merc. It's only tangible items. It's fucking the whole money attachments, things. The shit doesn't work on me, man. It's good to have things to pass on to your son, but that stuff doesn't work. Right? The whole fucking, chasing the wheel. It just doesn't work with me. I mean, I did it to survive. Survive, SU means low, and vivi means life, low life. Even the words we're using, it's all fucking corrupt. Like oxyviva means oxygen of life. What's oxygen? Ox is the alpha. Genes. Are we living? Are we inside? Are we the bits in the body moving through an organ? Are we the red blood cells? Are we the little parts of the body constructing things? Are we a larger expansion of entities within the body? Who fucking knows, right? But effectively, off topic again. Effectively, what's going on is, I've lost my train of thought. It's a disease. So what we've got going on is, they're fucking attacking the family. They're creating controversy, and it's my belief that this guy Derek and Dennis, they create the controversy, right, without doing it properly, and you go into court, and then because I've seen no evidence that they won, where it's been adjourned, sine die, or they've withdrawn. He provides no evidence, and I keep saying, like, if I put something up, right, I reference everything, right? I reference everything. None of this is my opinion, right? A US citizen is a civilly dead entity operating as a co-trustee, blah, blah, blah. You've seen it before, right? I had one more. Anyway, here we go. I think it's just one. Yeah, District of Columbia. Constitution of the United States of America, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever in the District of Columbia, not exceeding 10 square miles. Right. Particular states' acceptance of Congress becomes seat of government in the United States to exercise authority over all places, purchase, consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings. Constitution of the United States of America. So the Constitution of the United States of America is only enforceable within District of Columbia. How do they get out of the District of Columbia? They set up hospitals. They got everyone to sign birth certificates, and you became an entry in the debt ledger. And then they introduced, first came the money, then came the birth certificate, right? And then they changed the language to jurisdiction. Juris is binding and diction is speak. So is Derek, because, I'll take down the clip if you can show me a case that you've won. I'll take down the clip if you help the guy, the young fella, and his father and his mum get their house back. All right, I'll take down the clip. But until you take down the clip, you're creating controversy in the court. So you're creating business for the court, so the bank can come in, which is the court, so the bank can come in and steal their property. Now, the interesting thing, this part's hearsay. I've seen the notice he's put on the property. I've seen the video getting evicted. I've seen the security guards there. I've seen everything. So there's provenance and it's verifiable to a certain extent. The bit about what Dennis and Derek have said, that's hearsay. But the emotion, what he's telling me, what he's showing me, I believe him. Now, believe just means to allow, but I'm allowing the story to manifest because it seems to be true. Now, why aren't they fucking getting this guy's property back? Why are they turning to me and asking questions? Now they're stressed out about it, so they're not really committed. But why aren't they helping people? Why are you getting people in shit? Why are there fucking homeless people in Victoria because of your actions? Why are you charging money and you're not showing us what you've done, the cases you won? If you won cases and you're doing what you're doing, I guarantee an accident would happen, and you wouldn't be around. And the court only leaves people alone. Has he been RF'd? Has he been run off the road? If you're taking on the bank, you're taking on the establishment. This guy took on the bank. His mum was bashed. His car was T-boned. He's been pulled over so many times on the side of the road, fucking strip head to tail. He doesn't do anything wrong. He's not a fucking rocket scientist like me, but he's he's just a shit kicker, right? He's just fucking trying to get through life. And shepherd's mind force the energy of man. Even the word life is a fucking anyway. Yeah. Why aren't you helping him get his house back, Dennis? Why aren't you helping him get his house back, Derek? Why are you bad mouthing me? Show me where I've showed a procedure how to do something. Right? Go and look up the observation deck. Commercial lien. It shows you how to do a commercial lien. They even have a book for like $20 how to do a commercial lien. Right? You just write down what you believe to be true. This is what happened. This is how it happened. You're saying there's a mortgage. Can you please provide the mortgage? You're saying there's a debt, but isn't me signing the security creating a credit, a tradable security, which is creating value? Shouldn't that be recognised or symbolised by on the other side of the ledger as an entry, as a credit? And shouldn't that be registered, written as a credit? And shouldn't I be given that credit to discharge my debts? But the creation of the legal tender is the debt. So I've got a sneaking suspicion you've got to operate as a corporation and trade in securities only. But then again, you've got the birth certificate to discharge your debt. And, why isn't Derek fucking telling people to discharge your debt with the birth certificate? I know it's all fraud, but, to get people out of trouble, discharge your debt with the birth certificate, AAS 1014, 1014 and AASB 1040. I've probably got them mixed up around 1014 and 1040, mix them up, but I'll put them up on clips anyway. Why aren't they doing that? Why are people losing their fucking houses, Derek? Why are people losing their houses, Dennis? Right? They're creating the controversy because when you go into court, they issue bonds and securities and warrants. A warrant is a warranty. It's a financial fucking instrument. It's slavery. Right? Get on YouTube and type in involuntary bailment and type in Great British Mortgage Swindle. There's a 3-minute clip and he explains that when you go in to sign the mortgage, they send it to you and you sign it and the bank doesn't witness it. And then the bank allegedly signs it after the fact. Now, Derek reckons they're not signing at all and then they're trading. If they signed it, then they couldn't trade it. That part I don't know. But the Great British Mortgage Swindle guy in the UK says that they're signing it ex parte, not in the presence, right? And then the deed of trust wills the property, the house or the car, to the bank before they even own it. That's fraud. I can't sign over the rights to a car in a dealership or a house that I don't yet own. So the lawyers for the bank are committing fraud. The fucking bank is committing fraud. So there's two entities there, right? The representative of the bank and the bank itself. Technically, that's fucking. I think it comes under like money laundering and the RICO Act. Anyway, so they're committing fraud. The documents are fraudulent. The deed of trust is meeting of the minds and full disclosure. The deed of trust, you're not giving them the powers of attorney over the property of the vehicle. You're giving them powers of attorney over the legal name, which is everything associated with that fucking name. Everything that's associated with the name, right? That's why they can come in, take your house, take the fucking boat, take money out of your account, because they're probating a fucking estate. It's a deceased estate, so the court only has jurisdiction over the dead. That's why they wear the black. They're summoning demons, which is the name. So the Lesser Keys of Solomon, it looks like this, right? It looks like a fucking like a circuit, right? Right, and it'll have a symbol here, and so if you look up the Lesser Keys of Solomon, it'll just look like, or it might be a fucking circle. I don't know how you draw a fucking switch, and then the switch goes this way, and then it connects a circuit, and then when it's this way, it's off, and that way it's on. So they're summoning demons. They're summoning the hieroglyphs, and they train you to identify as the name. The name, nay, me, no, un. Not me, no one. Right? And I am some dude, Boris, on on Sovereign Living, he does a clip and he says the name is not evidence of an identity, but it's evidence of an interest. And he says, I'm here to discharge the interest. Words to that effect, and he says that they've been winning in Canada with cases that's getting discharged. So there's lots of things you can do, but I'm asking the question: why did these people lose their house, Dennis? Why did they lose their house, Derek? And so what these people do is they come in like Deborah Bentley, and she says, "Oh, try some black salve." So we're causing you fucking is that white dot there? That black salve. Pull that out. Pulled it out of here. Pulled it out of here, and draws it out. And people are like, "Oh, it leaves a scar." I didn't fucking need chemicals. Right? I didn't need surgery. They didn't cut into the fucking the basal cell and spread it into the bloodstream and go through and spread to all my other organs. Right? That's what they're doing. They did it to my father. And anyway, so what? And by gaining, oh yeah, wow, she did this. Oh wow, no, we just lost. Weeds are not weeds. Living energy to the door. Right? A weed is a herb, and a herb is what you're supposed to eat because when you eat living light beings, energy, then you become a living light being. That's why all these vegans were fucking doing so well, and they brought soy in, and they started poisoning all the vegans with fucking soy and whey and all this other shit. People go, oh, vegans are weak. Look at an elephant. Look at a hippopotamus. The whole fucking thing is it's poison. It's inverted. So they basically it's magic. These are hieroglyphs. Yeah, you never taught the actual meaning of the word, the written word. You never taught. It's just the meaning of the word, that you told the meaning of the word, and this is the outcome. No, it's just a word. They want you to manifest the outcome, allow it to have that effect on you, and then they've got a system of use of those words that gives them the authority. Right? The whole system is designed. It's not like, go and live in a fucking cave, Joe. The whole system is designed to steal every tribe's fucking ground. It's hallowed ground, sacred ground. It's not land, right? And stop saying I'm going to country. Country is a corporation, right? National is Gentile, right? Every word is a trap. It's a binding fucking situation, and the only language that you've got is your own, right? Unfortunately, people are right. The black fellas are writing them on fucking rooskins, right? In their tongue, but they're using the alphabet. What's the alphabet? The Alpha's house. They're trading houses. So yeah, we're using their syntax, and they're going to tax you from it. They're going to toll you for it. The lot number of your house, lot is tax. Yeah, let is tax. Yeah, to let my people free. Right? It's anyone they get under their net. It's a CNET, Senate. Yeah, Senate, CNET. All right, Jesus was a fisher of men. That's slave trading. He's stealing their souls. Mother, MU means death. Mucus, murder, mutilate. What about mum? MU means kill. R is man. Mark the helix in the energy of man. And Mary, the mother, Mary, Maria. Ma means sea in Latin and Italian, and ia means masculine. So the semen was the mother who killed Jesus, I am pig, right? And Mary was the mother of Jesus and was the parent, parere, which means by obligation abandoned, and gave birth to Jesus. Birth means to be abandoned from the womb, natus venter, right? And then Jesus was a child of God. Child is killed, child was the birth of Christ. So child, birth is stillbirth, exclusia maxim. So the creation story of Jesus is admiralty maritime abandoning of the living being. And so you got all these people going around saying, well, you've got the birth certificate, which is the dead birth, and then you've got the live birth, which is the living birth. Well, okay, so you've got a dead being abandoned and the living being abandoned. You're still being abandoned. It's all fucking fiction. My mum and dad didn't abandon me, right? They didn't. They brought me up. The state didn't bring me up. And so everything is based on fraud. The whole fucking gambit is based on fraud. If you go back to, think about it, back in 1776, the only people who had access to dictionaries, an unabridged dictionary, were lawyers and judges. And then what they would do is they would have an abridged version, which would go to the schools and academia, and then they wouldn't get to see the kings, the barristers, the judges, and the politicians, and the elite, the rich people's dictionaries. That was for the rich. Who can? There's a dictionary called not the New Law Dictionary, 1791. That's a great dictionary, printed in Belfast. But there's another dictionary. I can't think of the name of it, but that was printed in 1660 something. I can't think of the name of the dictionary. But to buy a second-hand copy in shitty condition is £3,200 4 years ago. That's $6,500 Aussie dollars for a shitty version. And that was the dictionary used by the kings, taught in Eton and fucking Oxford and Cambridge and all those kind of places. You weren't meant to know the meaning of the word. You were just supposed to identify as the dead entity, right? So yeah, why is Derek and Dennis causing people to lose their fucking houses and then doing fucking meetings? Just Google Derek Balgar. I'll read it out. He's got a YouTube channel. You think you have a mortgage, right? I was going to say something. So Derek is basically saying you pay. He's got down here. Borrow, settler, transfer. You didn't pay your last month's rent. So he says the court will ask you, why didn't you pay your last month's rent? And why didn't you pay the last month's last repayment? And so then if you make an excuse, then you're bound by that. Okay. But he's saying it's not actually a loan repayment, it's rent, because they haven't provided the mortgage, so they must own it, and they're renting it to me, because if there's no mortgage, well, then there's no debt. He just goes around in circles. Mortgage can't be provided. Well, everyone knows that. No assessment. So he's telling people who promissory notes. Then he's saying they don't work. Then he's saying go into court and say where's the original note, the contract, the mortgage, the promissory note, the security, and they can't produce it. But there's no evidence that he's ever won a case. There's no evidence that it's been adjourned, sine die. There's no evidence that it's been withdrawn. So how can you trust someone to give someone money when you can't do that? Then he's got another Zoom meeting where they're talking about suing the ATO for putting in claims against the ATO, and they're winning, and some woman that was asking all these questions, she was asking all the right questions, and they said, oh, would you like to come work for us? It's all hearsay, right? And some of what I'm telling you is hearsay, but I've seen this young fella's clips that he sent me. I actually posted his clips on my channel before they shut it down. So, you've got to ask yourself, you've got these people going around creating controversy in the court, causing people to lose their fucking homes. Now, the irony is that when they went and looked at the paperwork for the mortgage, you're dealing with a conveyancer and they take care of everything, you just sign the bottom line. A lot of people don't pay attention. He's turned around and said that the actual address on the mortgage is for another house down the road, which is worth $2.5 million, and it's not actually for the house they were kicked out of. So did the conveyancer and the solicitor of the bank change the details and get a fucking mortgage for a fucking really expensive house, and they were paying that off, and they created the security to create that house. Someone else is living in it, and they just told them it was this house, and they're living in a shitty, cheap house. That sounds like a fucking pretty good scam. You sign a mortgage for this house right here, but it was really for a house down the road worth 3 times as much. And then you live in the shitty house, which they just fucking said, there, that's your house. There you go. And So I haven't seen this, so I don't know. But that's the story anyway. It's a pretty good story. So Derek and Dennis, why did you cause someone to lose their house? Why would you tell someone to do a promissory note? You can't do this. Someone can't do this shit for you, because then you're just trusting a stranger with your entire life's fucking savings. They're confidence winners. That's all they are. Deborah's a confidence winner. Stephen Limmy's a confidence winner. Derek's a confidence winner. Dennis is a confidence winner. And they're basically, stealing people's property, stealing their estates. All right. Anyway.